Daniel James, and welcome back to the second part of my interview with soul survivor P.P. Arnold. Can I ask you about the next single, which was Angel of the Morning? Because that is another stunner.
That's another one. Angel of the Morning and First Cut is the deepest. You know, there's been many covers, but I think my cover of Angel is special. Chip Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Taylor. I've worked with Chip later in the years. I've got some stuff. I've got a box set coming out where Chip and I kind of reunited and did a couple of tracks together. That's going to be on that box set. But Angel of the Morning, that's another song that resonated with me, with that time of innocence and that time of honesty. You know, it's not like, whereas I think that's the difference between a lot of the music is so honest back then. You know, it's not like everybody is like, what is hip? You know, what's the hip thing to do? Everything is built around production more than melody. All those beautiful songs from the 60s, and we're talking melody, you know, and you're talking romance, you're talking pain, even the blues. I was with Karis Matthews last night. We're talking about the blues, you know, and when you really go through the history and see what motivated, see what was behind all of that music, the pain and the suffering, where all that music comes from, and the expression of those, emotions.
What would you say, looking back to that young girl, just fresh in London, you know, First Cut is the deepest, Angel of the Morning. Looking back now, what would you say to that young girl?
I would say just be more confident in yourself and who you were. Luckily, I didn't have a lot of confidence. And because I had not planned to be an artist, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just loved to sing, you know, so I would wish that I had had more confidence and understood the business more, but nobody understood the business. So that's another thing about the 60s. You know, nobody knew. It was all new. So everybody got ripped off. I mean, you know, like, even I always say, like, the artists that are at the top echelon of the industry today are the artists that were able to survive through the 70s. You know, so you got like, the Stones, they got ripped off, you know, the Beatles got ripped off, everybody got ripped off. But everybody, Pink Floyd and all of those big groups, they came through the 70s when there was the industry, there was more money, you know, there was like everything, all kind of things was going on. Everybody had big production shows and, you know, it was money.
You survived the 60s, you survived the 70s.
The 70s, I call them the lost years.
But you came through them. I mean, you did.
I came through them by the grace of God.
What got you through it? Just sheer strength?
The grace of God. God's grace.
Had you gone back to the States by then? Or?
I went back to the States and I was lost as an artist, in the industry because of like all the things, you know, like Immediate Records, it folded. And then I was with the Robert Stigwood organization and I worked with Barry Gibb. That was a wonderful period for me. All the work that I did with Barry Gibb and Eric Clapton, I only just managed to get that stuff released in 2017. I recorded those recordings in Barry from 1968 to 70. We recorded those things. And then the Eric Clapton productions were like 71 after I came off of that tour where I opened Eric Clapton, Delaney and Bonnie tour. I was the opening act. And after we came from that tour, because Robert Stigwood, he was he was my manager, but he was only my manager because Barry insisted that he manage me, because Barry wanted to, the work that we were doing together. The Bee Gees had split up, and we were kind of, he was a fan of my version of To Love Somebody that I recorded on the Kafunta album with the immediate album. So that's how we met. And
was Robert a little bit in the vein of Ike? Was he a bit of a control freak?
Who?
Robert Stigwood.
Well, I don't know, because I didn't really know Stigwood. I didn't really never get a chance to have a really kind of a relationship with him. It's just that we didn't have any. He was, like he was like really gay, and in those days, like it was illegal to be that gay, really. And I don't know, he didn't know how to be, even with Andrew, we didn't know how to communicate with each other. People didn't know how to communicate. We were young, but Robert, on a business level, I was in his way. Because basically the Bee Gees had split up. He was trying to get the brothers back together. And I understood that. I've always been a big Bee Gee fan. But
was it fun working with Barry? How was Barry?
Oh, Barry was wonderful. He's such a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. And his girlfriend, Linda, who is still his wife now, Barry and Linda, and my ex-husband, Jim Morris, I met Barry through Jim. We were good friends, like we were support systems for each other during that time of all those political kind of things. But, like for me, I've always been, my producers have always been artists themselves, the majority of my producers. So if something goes wrong in their camp, it affects me. So that's how a lot of that's why that music didn't get released. So I think
did you move on to Eric Clapton then?
Well, yeah, because Robert managed Eric.
Okay.
So he stopped the recordings with Barry, but he couldn't really get rid of me straight away. So he put me on that tour with Eric. And then after the tour, Eric and I went in the studio to record the covers that we do on the Turning Tide album. And Eric, that was great, because Eric was really recording me in a very roots way. Through Robert, everybody had been used to just hearing me be a pop singer. Whereas, we did like that really funky version of You Can't Always Get What You Want.
Yeah.
We did that beautiful Brand New Day, the Van Morrison Brand New Day track. And what we did, Medicated Goo. So Robert wasn't into any of that. So he just took those recordings and put those right on the shelf next to the Barry kit. And so I was lost. And then I did Catch My Soul. That's the first musical I did. And yeah, I just didn't have
Was that with PJ Proby?
Nightmare. Say no more.
That wasn't a marriage made in heaven then.
No, it wasn't. No, that guy was, yeah.
You've worked with a lot of people with big egos, but you've managed to survive.
Well, there's a lot of egos in the business. Proby, it wasn't like, he was part of a company. It was a theatrical company. So I didn't really, it's just, he had ego. Everybody's got egos, but, Eric was lovely. Working with Eric was just lovely. Working with Barry was wonderful. Working with Andrew Oldham and Mick and, the Faces. I really had pretty good experiences with my really close productions, like, and then like all the new stuff that I've done with Steve Craddock, Steve and I, we're just like a really good fit. We like came together. Our love of Steve Marriott brought us together, and he really gets me. He gets me, and he understands me as an artist that came through that way. And yeah, and he's very creative as well. I like doing things that have never been done before.
Well,
So
think about it. In the 80s, you were still around. You worked with the Beatmasters, got to number 14 in the charts with Burn It Up. And then you had, you did Evaporate with Alternate in 1992, got to number 6.
That was a great video.
And then you got Beautiful Thing with Ocean Color Scene.
But I did before that, I came back and I did Starlight Express, you must remember.
You did Starlight Express in the theatre in London.
Bell, 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 the sleeping car.
Beautiful.
It's no difference who you are. They're bringing it back. They're bringing Starlight Express back. I was with Rachel, who played Rusty, my Rusty. He's got a book out at the moment, too. We both got books out. I got he's got a re-release of his book, Ice. That's just absolutely incredible novel. He's a very talented, actor, producer, director, just like great guy.
Of course, don't forget you had that hit with the Fratellis on the Heritage Chart in 2020.
Oh, yeah, that was during the lockdown.
Strangers in the Street.
I never even met them live. We did all of that remotely. I was in Spain. I recorded those. I went in a studio in Spain and recorded the vocals. And then we did the video. I was in my house in Spain. And everybody was I never met those guys in the flesh. That was all remote,
technology.
During the pandemic thing, all the remote recording. Lovely guys, lovely song. Very, very, very lovely song. I was on the road with Roger Waters for 10 years. That was just a great, great, great experience, being on the road with Roger from 1999 until 2008, after recording that great song with him on his Amused to Death album, the Perfect Sense track. Mm-hmm. That, I don't know if you know that track. Are you aware of that?
I'm going to look that one up. I don't know it.
You need to look that up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So look, this is a career that's gone from the 60s and we're now in 2023. I can't even begin to even ask you to pick out a moment because you've had so many moments.
I think the moments, the 60s, is just such a great time. And for me, it was like finding myself, realizing that I could sing and this would be my love and this was the way to raise my children. And I was able to bring my children. My children grew up in England and, it was just a great time. So like, it's just so many great things. I was with Karis Matthews last night and doing her blues show. And I had like prepped to go in and talk about all these great blues artists, male and female. And I was just really humbled that she wanted to play my music.
Well, of course, you don't realize what effect
all my
you've had.
Music, and she played my music that I hadn't heard of from me in a long time. And I listened to like the great Barry Gibb song, Give a Hand, Take a Hand, things like that. Really, things that really relate to the time, the political times that we're going through, that we're surviving. She played that really like, really funky version of You Can't Always Get What You Want of mine. So like she was like playing my songs and I just thought, wow, because sometimes I forget about because I'm still in awe of so many artists and great artists and all my influences and inspirations. Sometimes I work with young kids, and I don't get this like kind of ego thing. They're all, like everybody. I say it's like a thing of what it looks like, not what it is, because it's like, fashion and everything plays a lot, but it's not. But the different egos and I remember coming up and just respect. You just have, and I still have that same respect. I met Mavis Staples recently, and I've known, listened to Mavis as a little girl, when the Staples singers growing up, and I was just such a groupie. We were doing the same festivals, and I finished my show, and I just couldn't wait to get to the tent to go and see Mavis. And nobody, it was like packed, solid. But it was like the Red Sea opened up and made a path for me to get through, right? And I was like right in the front row of that tent to see Mavis. And then afterwards, I went backstage. I went to where we all had our caravans and things. And I sat right outside her door, and I knocked on her door, and the manager said, "Well, Mavis is eating right now. You can't really, you have to wait." So I go, "Okay, I'll wait." So I sat there and I waited, but then Stevie Winwood was coming on, and I really wanted to see Stevie because we go way back too. So I went and I knocked on Mavis's door again, and her manager came to the door and he said, "I'm sorry, but Mavis is still eating." And I just stuck my head through the door and I go like, "Hi, Mavis." I go, "My name is P.P. Arnold, and I just want to let you know how much I love you and how I've known you all my life. And I just want to give you a hug, And she goes, "Come on in, baby." Come on in. And I got a chance to, oh my God, what an inspiration that she is to me. And I was able to take pictures with her and just in awe of her.
What I love?
And I could, Tina, I never got a chance to meet Aretha. It would have been great to meet Aretha. I would love to meet Gladys Knight. She's another.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yeah.
Listen, what I love about you, PP, is that you talk about that young girl, that young, naive, innocent girl in South Central, and you still retain that hunger, that wanting to see, wanting to learn. And yet you've achieved so much over the years, and you're so humble. Nothing's gone to your head. You've had roller coaster rides, and you're still here, and you still run to see Mavis Staples and Stevie Winwood.
That's right.
And you're still fresh.
I love to sing, and I've had a lot of tragedy and things in my life. So my career has been really kind of up and down and everything. I'm glad that I invested in my health and kept the faith. I worked very, very hard on my vocals.
Can I ask you what you do just quickly before we end? Because you know what? People have got to get your book, Soul Survivor. They've got to get the single Soul Survivor.
Oh,
because can I just say, you've got so many amazing stories because you have had this amazing life. And I just want to sort of say that it's really special to talk to somebody that's so humble still after having these experiences.
Well, it ain't over till it's over. That's how I feel. And I would like to have a completion in my career because it like kind of stopped, and I'm still fighting. The industry is a hard fight. I'm a female, Black, independent artist. So it's very important for me to stay enthusiastic about myself, because if I'm not enthusiastic about me, who's going to be enthusiastic? Because a lot of people, for many years, I was dealing with this whole ageism thing, where I personally know that age is just a number. Really, it's just like I love to sing. I work very hard. I work very hard.
What do you do to keep it intact? Do you do exercises? Do you steam?
Well, in Spain, I have a big house and I have like my own kind of studio space and stuff like that. And so I miss being home in Spain. But here I have a room in a studio, Broccoli Studios in Broccoli, and I go there 2 to 3 times a week and just sing because I'm not performing as much as I'd like to be performing, even though I am performing quite a bit. A lot's going on. I've been like doing summer shows, and I'm doing these fall shows. I've done a lot of shows up north and northeast, and I do my exercises. I sing for 3 hours. I do my exercises for about an hour. Then I'll just do my show. I have all my songs on tape, iTunes.
Yeah.
All my arrangements so I can sing. I've got a nice studio room. I just sing out. I sing for 3 hours. And every time I go, I do 3-hour blocks. So if I can sing for 300, I can kill those 90-minute shows I do.
Is there anyone, just before we finish, is there anyone around at the moment that you think, oh, I'd quite like to work with them? Anybody that jumps to your mind?
Well, yeah, straight away. I'm doing some duets and things for this album that I'm doing. Soul Survivor is the first single that's being heard from that. And I'm doing,
oh, you're so excited.
Really say who they are, but really great things. I wanted to work with Gregory Porter. I think he's a great, great artist. We're from the same roots and everything. I don't know if Gregory wants to work with me, though. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. We were like being managed by the same person for a minute there. And I thought that I would get a chance to like meet him and work because I think personally, our voices would sound great together because we both have very rich tones and we got that same gospel background. I would love to do something very beautiful with him. I think he's one of the great singers of this time,
Well, you've put it out there, and you always put things out there, and he seems to listen.
I sing gospel, soul, blues, funk, rock. I can sing jazz. I'm telling my musicians, like maybe I should do that. I do beautiful versions of God Bless the Child and wonderful jazz things, because those songs are so beautiful. I have just never personally, I never went down that road, like a lot of artists, once they get a certain age, they feel that they, sing jazz. But I just kind of got my own little niche and I kind of do what I want to do. But maybe if it's God's will,
yeah.
And if divine order brings it together, Gregory and I will do something incredible.
What duets are you doing?
Well, I'm going to I got to keep my lips zipped around that. I've done one.
Okay.
I'll say the one that I've done already with an artist named James Morrison.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we've done something very special together. And I want to hook up with my father and do something. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, look, this has been an amazing chat. We could have talked for ages. I hope the viewers will get your book, Soul Survivor. P.P. Arnold, you have been a delight. I hope to meet you in person soon. In fact, I hope to knock a couple of choruses out with you one day. Thank you so much for your time. The incredible, the incomparable soul survivor herself, P.P. Arnold. What stories? Get the book. An amazing lady. Thank you for joining me on the show this week. I will be back very soon with more Daniel James interviews. In the meantime, take care. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.